Have you ever wondered why is it that when a hard fork happens or occurs, you have the same amount of the new coins that you had previous the hard fork? In this video, you're going to learn what a fork is, why it happens, and the differences between a hard fork and a soft fork. Are you ready? Vamos! Welcome to my channel. So, we know that when we're talking about decentralized networks, there is no one in control. There is no central authority. No one has the power over the system. All we know is that the participants, they follow certain rules, they are in an agreement, they achieve consensus. Nice. So, what is a fork exactly? A fork occurs when the state of the blockchain is going to be divided into different states or versions of what's going on in the system, in the blockchain, okay? Meaning that half of the network is going to have a perception of what's going on that is going to be different of the other half of the network. They are going to think that the valid information, the truth, is different, okay? So let's see what happens here. We're talking about a fork. A fork happens regularly, naturally in Bitcoin 2 to 3 times a week. This is a total normal process in Bitcoin. When we talk about Bitcoin, for example, let's say that we have 2 miners that they mine a block almost at the same time, but they are geographically very far away from each other. We're going to say that a miner is in Argentina and the other miner is in Germany, in Europe, okay? They both have just mined a new block and they are going to propagate that information to the system. So the miner in Argentina is going to mine a new block, he's going to propagate that information, and the nodes that are here are going to hear that information first, and they are going to think that this is the new truth, that this is the new block that is going to be added in the block of chain, okay? So we have one side of the blockchain that is going to be extended here, and they are going to validate that information. They think this is the current state of the blockchain, of the truth of what's going on. The same is going to happen in Germany. A miner is going to mine a block, that information is going to be propagated in the system, and the miners, the other nodes that are near him in Germany, they are going to hear this information first and they are going to validate that information as the truth, as the current state of the blockchain. We have another tip of the blockchain that is going to be extended. As I said at the beginning, there is no central authority here. So we cannot ask anybody what is the truth, right? So what is going to happen? They are going to continue to mine and they are going to mine the next block. By doing so, they are going to cryptographically link the new block with the previous one, which they are going to recognize as the parent block, okay? They are going to do that, both of them, okay? Now, 10 minutes later, another person comes and he's going to mine the next block. And everything is normal. He's going to mine the next block and he's going to add that block in one side of the chain. Meaning, let's going to say that that miner is going to add that block here in this side of the blockchain. This chain is going to become the longest one, is going to win. Remember, the longest chain wins, not because it has the most amount of blocks, but because it has the most computing power. This is proof of work, okay? We're talking about Bitcoin here. So this is the longest chain, and all the nodes that are here are going to say, nice, this is the information that we had before, this is the parent, the block that we thought it was the truth, everything is going to be fine. But what happens with the nodes in Germany? They're going to say, hold on a second. The chain that has just become the longest has a different parent, a different block parent that we do. So they are not going to be able to recognize this parent as theirs. So what they have to do, they can't mine this block. So what they are going to do is going to grab and take the block that they thought it was their parent, and they're going to put all those transactions back in the mempool where they are hanging there until a miner comes 10 minutes later and is going to try to mine the next block. However, you're going to say, okay, those transactions are going to be delayed. Yes, they are going to be 10 minutes delayed in this case, but however, all the miners, usually they pick the same transactions to confirm. For example, different miners can have the same transactions in their blocks to confirm. What is going to differentiate each block is the hash code of each block, which is going to look in a particular way by finding the nonce. This is the puzzle that the miners have to find, solve, okay? And that hash code is going to allow us to cryptographically link all the blocks together in the block of chain. Nice. This is a fork. This situation happens in Bitcoin regularly. Now, let's go and dive into the differences between a hard fork and a soft fork. Other forks occur when part of the network decides to change the rules or to add new features to the software that they use to decide whether a transaction is valid or if it is not valid. And when this happens, part of the network is going to agree with that, and they are going to upgrade to the new version of the software, and part of them, the other part of the network is not going to do so. Okay, so what is a soft fork? A soft fork is an upgrade that it is backwards compatible. What does this mean? It means that all the nodes in the network, they are still going to communicate with each other when this happens, and it is going to remain one network. And the nodes that did not upgrade to the new version of the software, they are still going to see the transactions, the new transactions, as valid, okay? On the other hand, we have a hard fork. And a hard fork, we say that it's not backwards compatible, meaning the nodes are not going to communicate with each other, and this ends up in a split of two different networks. And the nodes that did not upgrade to the new version of the software, they are not going to see the transactions or the blocks that are mined by the others as valid, and vice versa. All right? So another way of seeing this, the hard fork, is like this. Stay with me for a second, because this is very, very, very interesting. So we had the block of chain here before the hard fork. I'm sure you have already seen this. And then we had the hard fork, and then we had a new network. We had a split, all right? But they do share history together. They do share history. They can no longer communicate with each other, but they have history. We can relate this with what happened last year, August 1st, 2017, with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Part of the network, they proposed to increase the block size, and part of the network did not agree with that proposal, with that new version of the software to decide whether a transaction is valid or not. So it ended up into a split, into a hard fork. And so here comes the answer to the question, why is it that when hard fork occurs, you have the same amount of coins that you had previously in the new coin? For example, if before the fork you had here 5 Bitcoins, in the new coin you're going to have exactly the same amount in the new coin, all right? But everything that happens after the fork, for example, here I spent 2 Bitcoin in a transaction, is not going to be reflected here because they can no longer communicate with each other. All right? These are the main characteristics, these are the main differences between them both, and why and when they occur. I hope you learned a lot in this video. It's a lot of information, but it's worth it just for you to know what's going on in the system, in the network, when something like this occurs. All right, subscribe to this channel for daily videos, because every single day I am here with you to take our knowledge to the next level. My name is Carolina, and I see you in the next video.